Hi, my name is Shannon Kerr, and I would like you to welcome you to my final presentation for my Bachelor of Arts in Multidisciplinary Studies. This has been a very long time coming. Before I start my presentation, I just would like to say that finding this program, the MDS program, and conquering it has been one of the most amazing things I have done in my entire life. As I mentioned in my previous slide, this degree or Bachelor's of Arts is a long time coming. I labeled this slide the beginning of the end of a really long road. I did start at Boise State in the fall of 2016. Prior to that, I'd earned an Associate of Science from Utah State University and was working on a bachelor's in English when that happened. So coming into this program, I had 95 credits, primarily in English, from Utah State. Because I worked at CSI at the time, and I was allowed to take classes free, I had 19 random credits. A very poorly paying job, but it was a job I loved. I was working with the United States veterans, helping them with their GI Bills, and I found I had a passion to serve them, and that was something that I wanted to continue on. I thought that maybe I could do this at the College of Southern Idaho. I found out from my supervisor at the time that the only way I'd ever get a raise is to have my bachelor's degree. So that's kind of how I got into this program. I went and talked to Christy Bowman at the Twin Falls Center, and she introduced me to Rebecca Morgan. And Rebecca Morgan's excitement for the program is actually what sold me on it. When she said I could take any class that I want, I really thought that meant any classes that I wanted. And because I love English so much, I thought I could finish taking English classes. But it turns out because the program is online and Boise State doesn't have a lot of English classes online, that I had to go a different route. But Rebecca looked at my transcripts, and we found out that I had, you have to have 30 credits as a transfer student to be able to graduate from Boise State. And I thought that this meant I'd be there for, maybe 3 or 4 more semesters. But when she did my transcript evaluation, actually only needed to take the 30 credits, 27 for the MDS program, and then 30 to transfer, because it was unbelievable. I didn't even know what to think. When she told me 30 credits, and as mentioned, I didn't know what to do. I thought, 30 credits, I can do that in 2 semesters, 15 credits each semester. That's not a problem. I'm sure that they're not hard courses. They won't be time consuming. This is very wrong. They've been very time consuming, but I was willing to do it because I wanted to raise and I wanted to keep working with veterans. So I got in contact with Alexis Kenyon, and she helped me sign up for my classes. And even though I tried to argue with her about the classes that I would take, because they weren't ones that I wanted to take, she highly recommended all of them. Wasn't big on teamwork and innovation, and never thought I was as good at teamwork, globalization, and pretty Americanized, I guess, and never thought I had much of a need for those classes. But under her recommendations, I signed up for the classes and started last semester taking COM 341, MDS 300, MDS 420, MDS 430, and MDS 450. And I have to say they were amazing classes. I learned so much. Fortunately, I didn't quite get through COM 341 the first time, so I had to do it again this semester. But I learned things in MDS 300 that I never believed were possible. Globalization taught me about the world. Ethics, I learned, was not all about being politically correct. And my teamwork and innovation class really helped me to grow. I got put on a team with 4 other women from around the country. 2 were from Boise, 1 was from Texas, and 1 was from California. We put together this manual, and we did it all online, and we did it over the phone, and we did it using Google Docs and Google Hangouts. And the manual in the end came out super awesome. And once I learned how to start being a team player with these teams, I actually really enjoyed it. And I think last semester was the class that I learned the most from. My college career before Boise State was kind of up in the air. 95 credits from Utah State, like I said, were primarily in English, but I had tried a lot of other things. I thought at one time I wanted to do business, I wanted to go into education, you name it, I probably tried at social work. But in MDS 300, we had to learn how to do an IDP, or an individual development plan. This is something I'd done at work, and it was something that I was fond of. This always led to poor reviews and my boss telling me she didn't appreciate my sense of humor. But with college, it worked in this program. It was amazing. You have to go through the process. You set up your classes, and you have to justify why you're taking each class. It gives you a reason, so you're not just going into it blindsided and just thinking, I'm doing this for fun. It doesn't matter. It does matter. And those classes that you pick actually make you grow. You can't flip-flop courses. There's no flying by the seat of your pants and just hoping that this one works or this one works. And it really gives you a bigger picture of what you're working towards. Listed the 6 different MDS outcomes on this slide. And I found that every single one of my classes is somehow attributed to each one of these outcomes. Whether it was, leadership, which really went towards number 1 in defining problems and opportunities. Globalization really helped me to encompass local to international importance that demonstrates a well-rounded view of the world. In all of my classes, I used my 21st century skills, which include reading, writing, speaking, even though we don't have students in class with us or an instructor in front of us, and we have to do most of our speeches this way, using the computer. I really learned a lot. I learned that I don't like it, and I'd rather have a person in front of me. But I also learned how to do it, and how light matters, and how not stuttering matters, and how really complicated it is. Before I came to Boise State, I was an English major at Utah State, and I thought my writing skills were up to par, but I just finished a 19-page research paper for MDS 400. Have fun reading that, Greg. And I've never written a research paper like that. It was hard. You have a methodology section and an abstract. I don't know what that stuff is, but I do now. And if it wasn't for the MBS program, I wouldn't know how to do that. I learned how to work in a team. I learned that I could be a leader. All of these skills, all of these outcomes have all come true in each one of the classes that I'm taking. Here's a list of the courses that I'm taking this spring. It is 18 credits because of that Communications 341 that I had to take again. And I thought this semester would be easier than last semester. Last semester was my first semester back in a while. And getting into the groove of things was hard, but this semester was even harder. I actually had to quit my job working with the vets at CSI to complete these classes. There's a lot of writing. There's a lot of reading. My leadership class taught me that I could be a leader. We did amazing things. And then I got convinced to take these ethnography classes. They were 1 credit, 7 weeks apiece. And when I took them, I'm like, okay, speed of industry, asking and listening sounds easy. 1 credit should be a breeze, and I can really focus on my other classes. But no, that's not true. The ethnography classes are hard. They are 1 credit and they are 7 weeks, but they're a lot of work. Dr. House puts a lot into his courses and he expects a lot out of you. And the concepts aren't the easiest to grasp, and that's why you can't skim through the readings, you have to take notes. And, as hard as they are and as time consuming as they are, I've learned so much from them. I've learned how to interview better. I'm learning how to do field work and how to observe customer situations. And it's anthropology, but it's like looking at the individual rather than looking at the culture. And I really think that in my future career plans, in working with veterans, that's what I want to do. That these ethnography classes and learning how to communicate with people correctly are going to be probably one of the biggest things to help me. Okay, so I know this next slide might make me look like a traitor, but really, I primarily went with this location, Idaho State University, for my service learning because it is the closest to my home in Idaho Falls. And they also have an amazing veteran center, like I've mentioned a couple times throughout this slideshow, that veterans are my passion, and they're who I want to spend the rest of my life serving. And so working with Todd Johnson at Idaho State University gave me a lot of insight. What we did for my service learning project was build a bridge between the College of Southern Idaho and Idaho State University. And I know that's dangerous territory, as it could be intruding on Boise State's territory, but you guys have CWI, so but we're looking at different ways to get students to transfer over from CSI to Idaho State University. And one of the big things that Idaho State University, and it's actually what I based my research paper on, was the fact that they'll use a soldier's MOS, or military occupational specialty, to grant credits. A lot of colleges do this, but they come over as elective credits. ISU has what's called a Vet to Nurse program, where they'll take the skills that someone in the Army or the Navy may have gotten as a corpsman or as a medic, and actually put those to the LPN program. And when they do this, it actually makes the program shorter and helps them get into the workforce faster. With that being said about my service project, I did do my research paper on utilizing the MOS to its full capacity. 46% of veterans who could be in the workforce are unemployed, and 32% of those veterans have served since 9/11. This is a huge problem. The Department of Defense will pay unemployment for 26 weeks after they get out of service, and then the soldiers are expected, or the soldiers, veterans, corpsmen, or Marines, whatever you want to call them. There's so many names. Have to go out and find work. A lot of them do have the GI Bill, but West Northern College isn't for everyone. And a lot of them don't want to use it. They'll transfer it to their children. And then what do? They have all of these skills that they learned in the service that do not apply in the civilian world. So I think there should be a greater look at, what these skills are and how we can use those skills to get veterans back to work. But then we should do the same thing with school. As I mentioned before, military credits come over as elective credits, generally speaking. And those don't do soldiers, or, sorry, I keep saying soldiers, those don't do veterans a lot of good, unless they're doing like a liberal arts program or something like that. And so schools need to look into utilizing those credits and putting them actually towards programs specifically, so they actually serve the veteran like they should. Here's a list of my personal goals. More than anything, I just want to help veterans. I'm going to graduate college. I'm going to eventually get into grad school. I want to go into probably a vocational rehab field. I'm going to be able to support myself. And these next two are things that I've actually done, and I did them before I left CSI. I presented to the Board of Administrators about things I needed to do for veterans. Wrote a nice letter to the president about how I think things needed to be improved. And he said, I just want to get a job. Right now, probably with the Department of Veterans Affairs, or what other vicinity will help me. And as I finish up my slide, or my presentation, I just want to shout out big thanks to Monique for helping me get through and for being a good system of support. Professor Greg Wilson, you're amazing. Christy Bowman for helping me get into or telling me about the program. Alexis for getting me started. Amy Davis, you've been amazing, and you've taught me so much about leadership, more than I'm sure you can imagine. And Rebecca Morgan, as I mentioned to you earlier in this video, thanks for your excitement and thanks for your enthusiasm.